Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly Rivera, and this is Maria Montessori's learning theory. So let's take a look at these two quotes for a minute. It says, Montessori is an education for independence, preparing not just for school, but for life, and never help a child with a task in which he feels he can succeed. So, do you agree with these quotes? Just keep in mind these quotes throughout the whole presentation, and you'll know why at the very end. So, who is Maria Montessori? That is this lovely woman right here, and she was born on August 31st, 1870. She died May 6th, 1952. She was the first woman certified to be a physician in Italy. She was inspired by the works of Pestalozzi, Froebel, Itard, and Sequin. In 1906, the children in San Lorenzo slum district of Rome was her first group of students to experience the Montessori system. Her associates were Anne Fraud, Erik Erikson, Mahatma Gandhi, Alexander Graham Bell, and Joan Piaget. Now, some of those names seem familiar, don't they? In 1915, she started her American training course in America, in California, and in 1929, she founded the Association Montessori International, and in 1949, 1950, and 1951, she was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize because of her work. So, what is the Montessori learning theory? The Montessori learning theory revolves around hands-on learning, play supported by collaboration, and student self-activity. It also focuses on the children's natural curiosities, interests, and instinct to learn. So in most cases, this sort of relates to constructivism, how everything is hands-on and it's always a kinesthetic type of relationship. And that's sort of what Montessori leans on too. So here's a little video. I'm sure that you can't click it because you're watching the screencast, but there's a link right below, and it just sort of states who Maria Montessori was and what it means to be Montessori. And this is the 4 planes of development created by Maria Montessori. This is sort of how the whole theory interlaps with each other. It starts off with the help me to do myself planes, which happens between the ages 0 to 12. And it's just sort of everything with the mind or personality, the social interaction, language order, self-construction, all of those kind of things sort of interlay with that type of development. And then it moves on to the help me think for myself planes, which happen in between the ages 12 to 24. And that relies on the whole policy of your social interaction, that you're reflective on what you do, your justice, and all about your moral independence and how you feel about yourself. And the possible goals and benefits of Montessori is that Montessori promotes self-confidence, self-worth, leadership, respect towards the environment, and community awareness. And it also encourages a positive attitude towards learning and education. It develops initiation, concentration, and persistence skills, and it fosters independence and curiosity. Because in the Montessori classroom, the students are all working individually instead of as a whole class. Most of the time they're together. They might have a class meeting for about 10 minutes or so, but then they move on into their own little world, so to speak, and they move on with their own education. So, Montessori schooling versus traditional schooling. So, not a lot of people who don't know what Montessori is can really relate the two, but here are just a few key points to help you remember. So, in a Montessori school, an environment for learning and discovery is present, whereas in a traditional school, an environment for learning and teaching is present. So, usually the teacher is ahead of the ball game in the traditional school, when in the Montessori school, everything is based on discovery. And the Montessori school is student-driven, while the traditional school is teacher-driven, which means the teacher is always in the front, usually in the traditional school. It's always directed and instructed by the teacher, where in the Montessori school, the students are the ones who are in charge, and they control their learning. In the Montessori school, it's developmentally focused, while the traditional school is reformative focused. So in the Montessori school, it just goes by how the child develops on their own, whereas in the traditional school, it's just sort of by age group, and it depends on what they expect you to know rather than what you actually do know. And a child learns about care in a Montessori school, whereas a child learns about do's and don'ts in the traditional school. So care meaning how to take care of themselves, sort of like brushing your teeth, brushing your hair. It sort of means that you're trying to prepare for your life rather than just prepare for what you need to do to succeed in school. Whereas in the traditional school, the do's and the don'ts are always like, don't do this or don't do that, or yes, you can do this, or yes, you need to do this. It sort of corresponds with each other, but in a way it doesn't. And grading is based on a student's absolute potential in a Montessori school, so developmentally, again, it depends on how the student is developmentally themselves. And grading is based on a student's relative performance in a traditional school, so, we always get A's, B's, 100s, 75s, all types of grades, and that is sort of what the whole student learning is based off of. And the child discovers self-discipline in a Montessori school, so they get to decide usually what they should and shouldn't do, whereas in the traditional school, the discipline is already on them by the teacher or the instructor or the principal. Somebody in a traditional school is the one who is disciplining, while in a Montessori school, they sort of learn how to discipline themselves. And in a Montessori school, their ages are mixed, so there is no one set age group for one specific grade. And in a traditional school, it's usually the same age group, so usually all the 10-year-olds are in 4th grade, or they sort of just keep all the age groups together rather than trying to separate them. In a Montessori school, the student sets their instructional pace, while in a traditional school, the teacher sets the pace. So the teacher gets to decide if the students are ready to move on, if the students need more extra help, if they need extra reinforcement, more teaching, but the student gets to set the instructional pace in the Montessori school, meaning they get to decide if they're ready to move on, if they think that they're ready to move and continue on with their education. So, Montessori schooling versus traditional schooling. This is another video. I'm sorry I can't show it, but there is a little link right underneath it that if you would like to see how this parent views the Montessori versus a traditional school type of setting, it's a really nice video. I enjoyed watching it. You might enjoy watching it. It really was informative and it helped for me to understand. So, what does a Montessori classroom look like? Well, this is one Montessori classroom. You see that there's a really big rug underneath it, and all the students sort of have their own rugs. That is their working station. They don't have a desk. I mean, obviously they have an area to eat, like a desk to sit at to eat, but the rug is their work area, so that is where they get all of their things done. Usually they have like a folder to have their assignments in, but most of their learning is hands-on and in envelopes around this whole me, myself, and I kind of thing, where the student gets to focus on themselves and what they feel they need to do. And this is another classroom. I wanted to put both pictures here because in the picture on the right, you can see that everything is eye level to the students. Nothing is out of their reach. Everything is available for them to come and take as they please. And on the left side, you also see that too a little bit, but on the right side, it's more emphasized that it's all independent. And what I really liked about it was that everything's open. There's nothing hidden from the kids, which in most cases in the traditional classroom, some things are hidden, such as like paint or other sensory type of materials, manipulatives. Things don't usually come out unless the teacher instructs it to do so. But in a Montessori school, the students have that freedom to come and choose what they want to use. So Montessori materials and utensils. Now I know this slide looks really overwhelming, but there is a lot of different materials, and this is only just some. There are dozens that you can look at, but I just really wanted to show you how there's so many different tools to use, and you don't just have to use worksheets all the time. There's other things that you can use and other things that are out there to have the students learn about what they need to learn. And in most cases, like I know at the bottom left corner, that looks like a baby toy. You probably had that when you were growing up. They're just little shapes that you put into boxes, but it all matters when you're developing the cognitive idea of how to put the shapes into certain sizes, and all of these things just really emphasize the importance of how to take care of yourself, what you need to know, what you don't need to know. It's all about discovery. So, maybe you want to become a Montessori teacher. There's really one thing you need to do, and that is that you need to become certified. And you can become certified at the American Montessori Society or at the Age of Montessori. Those are both websites. You can look them up. There's a lot more that you can do. All you need to do is just go for training and take some courses, and you can become certified to be a Montessori teacher. And so now it's fun fact time. This is one of my favorite parts. Dr. Smirnova is actually a certified Montessori teacher. After receiving her certification, she created a Montessori training center, 2 schools in Russia, and appeared on television for a Montessori education. So I thought this was really interesting because it's something that I would have never thought that Dr. Smirnova was a part of. But it's really interesting, and here is when she was in Russia, when she was in the Netherlands, and when she was right here in the United States. So, my experience in a Montessori environment. My first experience was at the Nursery Montessori School. It's actually located in the area. I think it's located exactly in Poughkeepsie. And this is just what it looks like. Now, it looks like an ordinary house that was transformed into a school. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. They turned this school into a house, and I think there's about 100 kids that actually go to the school, but each class only has 15 kids, and there's only one class for every grade. So it's really remarkable to see how much the students are really intertwined together. And what else I thought was really interesting was that as the students move up to another grade, so do their teachers. So the kids technically have their same teacher from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade before they have to go to another school. So I thought that was really interesting. And the next school that I went and visited was the Hawk Meadow Montessori School that's located in LaGrange. It's sort of hidden, but it's really interesting to go inside because this is where I really got to see those rugs put into work, and when I saw the students really using the Montessori utensils and materials at their own station. I was able to go and work with one of the students, but I didn't do any talking because I was instructed not to let the student teach me. So it was really interesting to see, and here's actually a picture of what it looked like. I didn't take this picture, but this is a picture of the student working in the Montessori school on their own mat, and this is sort of what I was introduced to, and all I did was just sit there and listen while the student taught me how to do something and explained to me why they learned how to do it. So here are my references. I know there's quite a lot, but those are my references. And thank you for listening, and thank you for this opportunity. So this little link is just a survey for me to see your own opinion. You can just type it in right into your little link block at the top of your internet browser, and just let me know how you feel. It's not necessary if you really don't want to, but I would like to see how you feel about Montessori. I know I like it, so maybe you do too. Bye!